Hello student, today we are going to study unit Paleobotany. So Paleobotany is the botany or it is the branch of botany which deals the study of the fossil plant. So the fossil plant are the plant which are geologically past plant, and therefore this Paleobotany is nothing but the study of the fossil plant. The plant remnants found in the sedimentary rock are called as a fossil. So you have to remember the fossil is always found in the sedimentary rock. The word fossil is derived from the Latin word called fodere, and this fodere means to dig out, because the most of the fossil plant which are in the earth crust, they are always dug out from the earth, and therefore the term fossil is used to such a past plant. The fossil remains of the plant that are live long ago. The extinction of the plant was mainly takes place due to natural process like climatic changes and earthquake. That means due to climatic change, due to earthquake, due to flood, as well as some other disaster, the plants are buried and then they are formed the fossil after many years. Some of these plants and their parts are found preserved in sedimentary rock. These preserved plants are called as a fossil, and the process of the fossil formation is called as a fossilization. The formation of fossil is a very long process. It requires millions of the years, and the most of the fossils are available in the form of the fragment of the plant, because the entire plant cannot found as a fossil, because due to climatic condition, due to geographical changes, due to geological changes, the plant part are detached from the plant, and then the root, the stem, leaves, as well as the reproductive structure, they are occur in separate location during the fossilization. And therefore the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature give the concession to the fossil plant for naming the fossil plant. Each fossil which is a detached part of the plant, or it is a detached part or organ, and as a separate name. That means here the root of the fossil plant, they have separate name, the stem have the separate name, the leaves have the separate name. Therefore they are called as a organ genera, or it is called as a form genera. If you take the example of the one fossil plant, so here there is one figure, that is the figure of the lepidodendron. So the lepidodendron is the fossil plant, and they have the root, they have the stem, they have the leaves are there, and each organ they have separate name. So the stem is called as a lepidodendron, and the fruit is called as a lepidocarpum. So here this is about the general account of the fossil plant or the paleobotany. So I think you have got what is mean by fossil plant. So the fossil plant is nothing but the plant which are past plant and which are present in the earth crust in the form of the rock. And here we have to discuss the scope of the paleobotany. So there are different scopes are there. So the paleobotany is a nothing but the study of the fossil plant, and therefore the basic objective of the paleobotany is to know the type of vegetation existed in the past. With the help of the fossil record, we can study the history of the plant life in region can be reconstructed, as well as we can decide the probable time and mode of origin of different group of vascular and non-vascular plant with the help of the fossil record. Fossil plant is used for study of phylogeny and evolution of the plant. That means how the evolution is takes place, we can study with the help of the fossil record. Fossil plant gives the historical approach to the plant kingdom, as well as due to the fossil specimen we can classify the plant, and therefore the fossil plant or the fossil specimen is helpful for classification of the plant, as well as we can study the fossil plant can be studied in the field of descriptive and comparative anatomy. Paleobotany is also important in the reconstruction of the ancient ecological system as well as the climate known as paleoecology and paleophytogeography. Paleobotany is also becoming important to the field of archaeology, as well as the paleobotany also important for exploration of oil and coal. So there are some plants which are called as index fossil. So with the help of this fossil plant, we can explore the oil and the coal mines. Paleobotany is useful in determining the age of the rock, and in such study of fossil is used as an indicator. Paleopalynology is another branch of paleobotany which deals with the fossil microflora in the form of the pollen grain and spores. So here this is some objective of the paleobotany. So the next point which is very important, that is the process of fossilization. So how the fossil is formed, and this is called as a fossilization process. So here the figure it shows that there is a plant part or maybe the entire plant, they are carried due to the water current as well as due to the wind, and when they are carried in the basin of the water they become waterlogged and buried in the sedimentary rock. Suppose this is the water reservoir, this is the plant part. So this plant part is carried out by the wind or the water, and then it is fall and then it goes beneath to the water body. So when they are reach to the bottom of the water body, then the process of the fossilization is a start. In such cases, so the minerals which are present in the water in the form of the silica, in the form of the carbonate, iron, so they are start to infiltrate into the leaves. So here it is followed by intercellular and intracellular polymerization of siloxane bond and elimination of the water is takes place. That means in a simple way the mineral matter are infiltrate into the tissue of the plant part, and the tissue which are soft tissue they are eliminated. The water is also eliminated from the hard tissue, and then this process is continued. That means the infiltration of the mineral is continuously form the hard structure. Again and again the sedimentary particle are deposited inside the tissue as well as on the part of the plant, and after million of years the total this plant is turned into the hard rock, and this hard rock is called as a fossil. That means here there is a leaf is there. So this leaf they have some xylem, some sclerenchyma tissue are there. The tissue which are soft tissue, for example parenchyma, chlorenchyma, they are eliminated, they are destroyed. But due to the infiltration of the mineral into the hard tissue, the total leaf is turned into the rock along with this sedimentary rock. That means this total structure, this total body, water body is turned into the rock due to deposition of the sedimentary particle, and then this is called as a sedimentary rock, and inside this sedimentary rock there is a leaf or the plant part is there. So here this is called as a process of the fossilization, and after millions of years when the human being dug out this fossil or this earth, then we will get such a rock with the fossil plant. So this is called as a process of the fossilization. But there are some conditions for the fossilization. So here there are some 5 conditions are here. The organism should be rapidly buried to avoid the damage of the scavengers. That means here if the place of the fossilization and the place of the plant part is very far, then there is a chances of the decaying of the plant body, and therefore the distance between this is should be little distance or small distance. The distance, the organism should be buried in aerobic condition because oxygen encourages the presence of the bacteria which decompose organic material. Third one, the plant organ should have hard tissue because hard tissue remain longer time without decay. The soft tissue is cannot fossilized because they are easily destroyed, and therefore the plant part which have the hard tissue they should be fossilized in the form of the fossil. The fossilization always occur in sedimentary rock. So in igneous rock, in metamorphic rock or other rock there is no fossil. Only sedimentary rock they have the fossil, and the sedimentary particle is responsible for formation of the fossil. Then here next one, that is the type of the fossil. So here after formation of the fossil there are different types of the fossils are there. So here the first type is the impression, compression, petrification, cast, coal ball and nodule. So this is a different type of the fossil. So first we have to discuss here the impression type of the fossil. The impression is nothing but the imprint. So we have the imprint of the finger. So such finger or such imprints are also in the form of the fossil. So in this type of the fossil specimen, in the form of imprint of the plant or plant part are present on the sediment. These fossils are without preservation of any organic matter. That means during fossilization only imprints are on the rock and the plant is become destroyed. So these fossils are without preservation of any organic material. Hence the cellular details are totally absent here in this plant. So here this is the example of the impression. So in that here there is no any cellular material, there is no any cell or any tissue, only imprints are there, and this formed due to overlying pressure during sedimentation. The plant material get pressed and flattened into the fragments with great reduction in thickness, but without any change in the surface character. Certain leaf impression shows clear venation pattern, even cuticular details are also there. The impression type of the fossil is helpful in study of external character of the plant part such as the stem, leaf, flower. That means the surface architecture we can study it with the help of the impression and not a cellular detail or not a internal detail. So here this is the first type, that is the impression type of the fossil. Second one is a compression type of fossil. So this is the most common method in which the entire plant or part of the plant is preserved beneath the sediment. In this method of the fossilization, the buried plant parts get flattened due to pressure and turn into the carbonaceous film. Such film shows marking of external feature. In this plant material, the plant material retain some organic matter and is preserved in the form of the compression. That means the material or the tissue or the organ is compressed due to overlying pressure of the sedimentary particle. So in such fossil only epidermal region as well as some cellular upper cellular detail are we can study, but the internal structure or anatomical structure we cannot study it in this fossil. So this is called as a compression because the cellular material is here compressed. So third type is a petrification. So the petri is nothing but the formation of rock, and therefore this is called as a petrification. In this type of preservation, the original shape of the material, topography of the tissue and sometimes even minute cellular details are preserved. So this is a very valuable fossil type. So the petrification or petrified fossils are very good for studying the internal structure of preserved material. In some petrification, the original structure is so nicely preserved that even histological details can be studied. That means the internal details we can study it with the help of the petrification. They are formed by very slow and gradual process, and there is an infiltration of the mineral in the tissue or in the cell is very slow. In this fossil, the original matter was replaced molecule by molecule with mineral material. That means the internal structure, that is the liquid material, are replaced by the sedimentary particle or the mineral particle. In most of the petrified fossil, the original material are preserved in the form of siliceous material. So here this is the stem. Actually this is the fossil which is hard rock, and if you take the section of this stem, then we will get the detailed idea about the arrangement or organization of the cellular detail. So this petrification fossil is very valuable and very important because the external as well as internal detail we can study with the help of the petrification. So the next type, that is the cast, are called as incrustation. So here in this type, the fossil, the external form of the plant is preserved in the form of the cast, or an internal structure is destroyed. That means here this is also a similar to the impression, but here there is a cast of the carbonaceous material. The carbonaceous organic material are here preserved, but the cellular details are cannot preserved. So here this is the cast of the calamite. That means the calamite is the fossil plant, and here we can see in this calamite there is a nodes and internode. So this is the stem, this is the internodal region, and this is the nodal portion. That means the external appearance of the plant you can study with the help of the cast or incrustation fossil. So this is the coal ball. The coal ball is nothing but the spherical mass having mineral matter in which plant material are embedded. Such a balls are found between the two coal layer in coal mine. So that means here inside this coal ball the plant part get preserved. The coal ball shows a preservation of some plant material as well as preservation of some internal structure in the preserved organ. The coal balls are generally found in groups, and the plant preserved in them is useful to know the vegetation that region in the past. So here this is the like ball, and this is a black colored, and it is, you know, this is the coal ball. Then another one specimen, that is the nodule. So the plant material in the nodule is preserved in the form of the impression or compression. That means here this nodule is nothing but type of the impression type or compression type of fossil. That means the cellular detail or the internal structure we cannot study with the help of the nodule. The material can be seen only when the nodule is split open in the middle into two walls. So here this is the one nodule, and it is a glassy and smooth, and when we break this rock or break this nodule fossil, then we will get at the internal side there is impression of this leafy or this fern impression we can see. So these nodules are small round structure with more or less glossy shining surface. This sedimentary rock with preserved plant material were formed in the water. That means this nodule is always found in the river or in the water bodies. So here this is some impression, compression as well as petrification, coal ball, cast type of the fossil. I think you have get what is meant by the fossil and how they are formed here. So here this is the paleobotany, that is the general account, and the types of the fossil. So I have stopped here, and in next video we can discuss about the geological time scale.